McConnell and Shannon back with you, and we are joined by Scott MacArthur. You will know him as a formerly of The Fan, and he now does a podcast called Exit Philosophy with Richard Griffin. And we're glad to it follows baseball, and we're glad to have you with us. Give me a general thought right off the top. What do you think of this team right now?
Well, I always believe that you're not as good as when you're at your best, and you're not as bad as when you're at your worst. But the signs are certainly encouraging, Bob. I mean, they're 8-2 in their last 10 games. You can take that out slightly further. They're 9 out of their last 12, and they have not lost a game started by somebody other than Alek Manoah since May the 27th. So the starting pitching outside of Manoah has fallen into place of late. And I think some of the bats that have been slow out of the gate are starting to piece things together. The Alejandro Kirks of the world starting to contribute more. Dalton Varsho with some power. So there are a lot of positive signs, and we'll see what this means down the road. They've been an elite team outside of their division all year, and they've been horrible in their division. And right now they're playing out of their division.
Yeah. I'll tell you, my sense of this team, and it's very general, is the hitting is okay, a lot of base runners, but they aren't producing with runners on base to the level that I would like. I mean, this is the team that probably should score 6-7 runs every game based on the kind of offense that they can generate. But they don't. Like the last couple against Houston were 3-run games.
Yep.
Lots of runners left on base. That seems to be a pattern. I have no idea how you fix that. I don't know if you do, if you have any thoughts on that. But that's sort of what I see is a team that isn't producing right now at the right time offensively.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And I don't think there is a solution, Bob, without kind of getting nerdy about it. I mean, are these guys hitting the ball solidly? Like, is the contact solid? So is there a degree of bad luck involved? Are they hitting line drives right?
No, I don't think so. That's not my sense.
No, but again, pitch selection, right? Are you getting into too many 2-strike counts and then having to protect and getting yourself into trouble that way? So I don't know the degree to which we can measure luck versus this just is not a very good team hitting with runners in scoring position, particularly with 2 outs. I mean, they're fortunate that in last night's game, as we sit here on Friday, having a couple of runners in scoring position with nobody out, second and third, and not cashing them.
Exactly.
Didn't end up costing them.
You're right.
To me, sometimes you don't have to be a hero. So if you're Dalton Varsho and you're up there second and third, nobody out, you don't have to hit one into the former Sightlines restaurant. Lift me a fly ball to mid-range center field. Cash that runner from third. Get the insurance run. Exactly. But I think we do live in an age, Bob, where guys are kind of all in and are willing to be all out as a punishment for that. When sometimes that ground ball, if the infield's playing back, or that mid-range fly ball to the outfield will do the trick and bring home a run.
Yeah.
Well, they left 7 of 9 in scoring position last night. So the 2 runs you talked about, they got. But Scotty, what's for the non-nerds? Because that's me. For the non-nerds, what's the percentage of runners in scoring position you need to really get to feel satisfied that this is going to be a successful hitting team?
Well, I have to ask the demand for non-nerd response with a slightly mathematical nerd response. Give me the scenario, John. Runners on second and third, 2 outs. That's a crapshoot, right? And then you're essentially playing the percentages. So if a batter has a 250 average and is on base 32% of the time, you're playing within that window. But if you're in a scenario where you've got second and third and nobody out, you damn well better at least cash that runner on third. I mean, it is not a successful inning.
Are you coming to the plate content to hit a fly ball? Is that what you're trying to do? Is get the runner across? And I think you should be, shouldn't you?
I think so. But as we know in this day and age, a lot of guys are coming up looking to hit a fly ball that travels 420 feet.
Although we
Well,
haven't
there's
seen
some-
that very much for this team. We haven't
No,
seen as many home
they're
runs as
not a
we
home run
expected
hitting
to.
team, not like they
Well,
were.
Yeah, I mean, I think Bo's carried his weight. Dalton Varsho, his numbers are coming up. Vladdy's the one, obviously, guys, that confounds. I mean, he has 8 home runs this year off of pitchers, 9 in total, and 0 at Rogers Center, which really doesn't make any sense. He still seems to hit the ball hard, but he's more of a line drive guy than a guy who gets loft underneath the ball. At least that's the way he's played this year. So this team is built on some general presumptions, right? That Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is going to be a 30-ish at the very least home run guy. This team was built on the presumption that the 5 that they had in the starting rotation were going to pan out. I mean, with Manoah down in Florida, they're a Kevin Gausman injury away from a fair level of panic, I would say, or a Chris Bassett injury. So they're real thin in terms of depth, and it's figuring out how to just thrive as best you can on those margins.
Well, they've been lucky so far injury wise,
Sure.
because they haven't had one that's knocked a guy out for an extended period of time, and that's unusual, especially when you're more than 60 games in. And that is a concern to me. We talked about this, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago. There has been a sense probably for 3 or 4 years that when you looked at Vladdy and you looked at Bichette and projected their salaries ahead, and you said to yourself, well, who would you, if you have to give up one of them because of salary concerns, who would it be? You'd say Bichette. You'd argue that Bichette is a good enough player, but you'd never say that Bichette would earn more than Vladdy. Vladdy, at one point, I thought Vladdy was a $40-50 million a year guy. Well, I don't think it's that way anymore. I think right now you look at it and you'd say, I'm keeping Bichette. This is a guy who leads the league in hitting, has the most hits, and Vladdy is a shadow of what he once was, to tell you the truth. When he first came up, this was a guy who I thought could hit any pitch. Throw any pitch up there, and this guy will hit it. Right now, he just looks like he's in a fog. He looks like he doesn't have a clue where the ball is going. He doesn't know how to get to the ball. He isn't sure what pitches to take and what pitches to swing at. And yet he's still hitting 280, which isn't bad,
Well, he's having the type of season, Bob. If you look at his OPS and his OPS plus nerd metric. So
yeah.
I should probably put $5. I don't carry cash anymore, but I should probably put $5 in a tip jar.
We'll take
and
it.
hand it to you guys every time I nerd out here. But he's having the type of season that a lot of guys would dream of. Problem is he's not a lot of guys. He's an elite.
He's supposed to be an elite player, right?
Ball player with some expectation. What I wonder, and I'm even willing to throw Alek Manoah into this conversation because I think there's a variety of things going on with Manoah, and then I'll contrast it to Bichette. And Bo even talked about this. I wonder if the fact that Bo did a deal that signed him through his arbitration years, so he knows he's not playing the 2023 season in anticipation of having a knockdown, drag him out, his representatives with Ross Atkins in the winter of 2024 to get to a number for next year. I wonder if that's just allowed him to relax and be himself. And is it in the back of Vladdy Jr.'s mind? Because, Bob, we know, how do guys get paid? Right?
Performance.
Performance, but offensively, home runs, on base percentage, all this stuff. I have to think that somewhere in the back of Vladdy's mind, and I'm not saying he should be, I'm just theorizing that somewhere in the back of Vladdy's mind, he's carrying this in his head because he's got arbitration to face next year, the arbitration to face the year after that, as long as he continues to do these one-year deals. He's getting paid handsomely. But I think he's thinking and not necessarily at a conscious level every time he steps in the batter's box, but I think he's thinking about his long-term value and what that contract's going to look like. And
Maybe.
can he secure the maximum bag, whatever that is?